Okay, my mic is working. If you guys so care to head over there, link in bio, to watch that. In the meantime, you know, we can hang out, chat. Vice President. I am currently not doing my homework for this. You know? Okay. There's a lot of stuff that I kind of want to talk about. Has anyone noticed like the rise of so-called paleo conservatives, or self-proclaimed paleo conservatives on TikTok? It's Nick videos, but there's also this Candace bitch. Sorry, Candace lady, not Candace Owens. Stop sign. I have a handicap parking lot. Nice, thank you. I love this stop sign. What's up, Alicia? Those blue light glasses, yeah, they are. You can tell because you can see my screen. Oh, what am I looking for? I see Young Turks just tweeted like fucking crazy. Ooh. Dude, Donald's the Don. These are blue light glasses. Donald Trump has been like tweeting like shit. Let's just scroll through Donald Trump's tweets on stream. Guys, go to the stream on YouTube if you want to see what I'm looking at. Let's go see what the message from the president is.
Hi, perhaps you
This was 2 hours ago. He's outside. Okay, I'm thinking about getting them. Are they worth it? Yeah, they are helpful. They really are. This is 2 hours ago. I'm turning my volume all the way up so you guys can hear it. Yeah, imagine me on the TikTok stream. Disgusting.
It's your favorite president, and I'm standing in front of the Oval Office at the White House, which is always an exciting place to be. I got back a day ago from...
He always calls himself our favorite president. What's up, Hannah?
Walter Reed Medical Center. I spent 4 days there.
Guys, if you're watching on TikTok, I beg of you.
And didn't have to. I could have stayed at the White House, but the doctor said, because you're president, let's
Go to
do
the
it. I
YouTube
said,
stream.
fine. You tell me what to do, and I'm going to listen. These are great professionals.
That's funny. He definitely does not listen when he's told what to do.
They've done a fantastic job. And by the way, not only at Walter Reed, all over the country, we have the greatest doctors in the world. We have the greatest nurses.
He says this like everyone has access to all those greatest doctors.
The greatest
go to the
first
stream.
responders, law enforcement, by the way.
Law enforcement has nothing to do with him going with with getting medical treatment.
Incredible. Firefighters, everybody. They're just great. We have great people. This is a great country.
I don't know what he's saying.
But I spent 4 days there, and I went in. I wasn't feeling so hot, and within a very
My stream. I'm streaming on YouTube. I'm like I don't do well. Like I don't do good plugs. Like I don't plug myself well. It's in my bio. I clearly don't do self plugs that well.
short period of time, they gave me Regeneron. It's called Regeneron, and other things.
Regeneron is literal, I'm pretty sure, stem cells, which is really interesting coming from a pro-lifer, you know? Stem cells are like from fetuses, I'm pretty sure.
Too, but I think this was the key. But they gave me Regeneron, and it was like unbelievable. I felt good immediately. I felt as good 3 days ago as I do now. So
Wait,
I
didn't he
just
say
wanna
3 days ago
say
he wasn't
we
feeling
have Regeneron. We have a very similar drug from Eli Lilly, and they're coming out, and we're trying to get them on an emergency
They fed him a
basis.
baby. They
We've
did feed him a baby.
authorized it. I've authorized it. And if you're in the hospital and you're feeling really bad, I think we're going to work it so that you get them and you're going to get them free. And especially if you're a senior, we're going to get you in there quick. We have hundreds of thousands of doses that are just about ready. I have emergency use authorization all set, and we got to get it signed now. And you're going to get better. You're going to get better really fast. This is things that nobody even thought of
Like,
a few months ago. The job that the scientists, the labs, everybody have done is incredible. Then in addition to that, you have various other drugs that help.
I don't know what
a lot,
he's
but
saying.
I view these, I know they call them therapeutic, but to me it wasn't therapeutic. It just made me better.
he doesn't know what therapy is. He looks like he's being paid to be on some shitty scripted infomercial for a scam product. I know, right?
Okay, I call that a cure.
Therapeutics are.
Well, I want to get these things done. So we have to get them done. We have to get them approved. And I want to get them to the hospitals where people are feeling badly. It's much more important.
What's up, Liana? It's probably got a spray tan darker to cover sickness. Yeah, probably, or else it'd be like green.
Than the vaccine. But on the vaccines, we have many companies that are in final stages for the vaccines. Johnson & Johnson.
He's been saying this stuff for a literal month, or sorry, months. He's been using the same talking point for months.
Moderna, Pfizer, all great companies, but many of them. And we're going to have a great vaccine very, very shortly. I think we should have it before the election, but frankly, the politics gets involved, and that's okay. They want to play their games. It's going to.
He's so mad that he can't just drug everyone. All that like QAnoners get so angry at like Bill Gates. Bill Gates will like chip them, but like Bill Gates just wants to fund it. This kid literally just wants everyone to die.
Be right after the election, but we did it. Nobody else would have been able to do it.
He hasn't. You haven't done anything yet. What?
They want to play their games. It's going to be right after.
Thank you, Liana.
The election, but we did it. Nobody else would have been able to do it.
Huh?
The FDA has acted as quickly as they've ever acted in history. There's never been a time, and no president's ever pushed it.
I'm so bored. Also, this tweet right here, the fake news media is a real opposition party, is literal fascism. Yeah, no, he just makes shit up. Guys, everyone on on TikTok, please go to stream. Where the fuck are the homies? Why aren't they here? I'm so sad. Starts at 9, right? Yeah, Regeneron is trending right now. Today, that contacting the coronavirus was a blessing in disguise and claimed without scientific evidence that the antibody cocktail from Regeneron Pharmaceuticals he treated. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, this is general. And he retweeted it. Why does he retweet his own shit? Like a few hours after he has already tweeted it. Also, he won't shut up. Stop retweeting your own stuff like a few hours later. Just be original, bro. Obama, Biden, Crooked Hillary, and many others got caught in a treasonous act of spying in the government overthrow. Wait, what? They were the government. Wait, what? Obama, Biden, Crooked Hillary, and many others got caught in a treasonous act. His caps are all over the place. Got caught. He's been doing Obamagate all day. Are you gonna watch the debate? Yeah. Come go to my YouTube channel, link in bio. I'm streaming it. Treasonous act of spying and government overthrow. They were the government, bro. Man. Hilarious. Wow, now do something about this. He's so angry. Biden supports Cory Booker's bill that force low-income housing in your suburbs. It's still on the goddamn ruining your suburbs shit. Like, he's been tweeting like insane rates. This is new. No, he hasn't given up on Obamagate. I highly regard executive order protecting. This is also just a lie. Anyways, all Trump do is lie and be angry about it. I'm so sad, guys. Watch the damn live stream. So I saw a video about Gravel University being like far left, this bitch, far left PragerU, question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't know much on Lauren Chen. Let me Google her real quick. Why do you expect to win? I never go to watch Democratic debate, so I haven't seen Kamala debate. I think Kamala, just based on her ability to, like, she's a good debater, you know? So looking at Lauren Chen, the people also search for Caitlin Bennett, Blair White, and Tim Pool. It's not looking good for her. I'm just trying to figure out what, like, party she lines herself with. I don't know. Alright, let's watch this. This is the longest video. Maybe we won't watch the entire thing.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show and thank you so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about the Gravel Institute, an organization that describes itself as, quote, fighting PragerU from the left on its own turf. Oh shit, sorry. Videos spreading progressive ideas. A lot of you have probably seen PragerU videos or at the very least heard of them, and basically PragerU is an organization, they're a nonprofit that publishes videos that tend to...
PragerU makes bank. They say they're a nonprofit, but they're like paid by massive conservative think tanks.
Toward conservative or classical liberal ideas. PragerU's videos cover all sorts of different social and political issues, things like the education system, the economy, healthcare, immigration. And in each PragerU video, there is a different presenter, usually with some sort of following of their own. And not to brag or anything, but I actually have presented my own PragerU video on marriage, by the way, so you should check it out if you haven't seen it.
Oh, she has a marriage one.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe we'll
I'm
watch
clearly
that.
a fan of PragerU. I think their videos are very well done, very well produced, and they are very popular. So much so, actually, let's hear more about what the Gravel Institute is dedicated to combating them from the left. And
so the fact that she thinks that the Gravel Institute is just like salty that PragerU is popular and that's why they're starting is kind of funny. The reason the Gravel Institute started is because that, like, the ideologies pushed by PragerU are genuinely threats to democracy. Dennis Prager is so sexy. He is so hot.
Actually, let's hear more about what...
Yeah, no. Far left PragerU, socialist propaganda. Like, she's literally
the Gravel Institute has to say about their apparent arch nemesis.
She was on PragerU. Come on.
PragerU.
This is H. John Benjamin. I'm here to talk to you about a big problem on the internet. It's called people emailing my wife. No, it's called PragerU. Imagine a huge packaged into friends, your family.
We've all seen this, right?
It makes me very sad to see H. John Benjamin take part in such a terrible smear campaign against PragerU. And I know
it's honestly funny though, because this is not a smear campaign against PragerU. It's just like accurate information. They don't like go out of their way to directly be like, PragerU dumb. Like, they mentioned that they're like, PragerU is just unintellectual.
That since I cover celebrities and politics all the time, I, of all people, should be used to celebrities disappointing me with their opinions, but still, this one hurt. But regarding what the video had to say about PragerU, though, we hear all the time from the left that PragerU lies. They just straight up do not tell the truth.
They do lie.
Exactly the same sort of thing that Samantha Bee said about PragerU when her show took a shot at them. And look, I have no problem saying that, no, I haven't agreed with every single PragerU video I've ever seen. And if you're someone who is progressive or just generally on the left, I can very easily imagine all of the disagreements you would have with PragerU. But for all of the allegations I've heard of them lying, of PragerU just not telling the truth, I have seen zero evidence to back that up.
Wait, what? It's literally just like doing research. What do you mean?
I haven't really seen anybody be able to point to a specific video and a specific statement to say, hey, this is not true, this is factually inaccurate.
I wish you would watch my stream. Oh wait, let's do it real quick. Let's just like go to a random spot and see if we can... Where do you live? Red or blue state? Let's just go here.
It shrinks to $89. $111 in purchasing power in Tennessee, while in New Jersey, dollars. According to a 2019 Tax Foundation study, your $100 stretches to $111 in purchasing power in Tennessee, while in New Jersey, it shrinks to $89.
Source? Where's the source? I want to see the source. Where's the fucking source? Where's the source? Show me the source. Show me. Where's the source? Hey, where's the source? I want to see that study. Hey, where's the source? No, show me the source. Where's the source? What? Where's the source? What study? What study? According to a 2019 Tax Foundation study. Shut up, PragerU. They literally don't provide sources. So, you know.
And here's why. And I love the irony, by the way, of the side with George Soros and all of academia in the palm of their hands, accusing others of being funded by billionaires to indoctrinate people. And once again, really...
Every time they mention George Soros, they're so close to the JQ. Because you can, like, point to many, many, many massive organizations that work to fund stuff like PragerU. Like, many. The Koch brothers, literally... like the first one off the top of my head. They only have like George Soros.
Right. So go to TommyJohn.com/Lauren to save 15%.
I live in Connecticut.
Again, save 15% right now at TommyJohn.com/Lauren. One more time, that is TommyJohn.com/Lauren. Get yourself something
to beat them at their own game. Short, high quality, easy to understand.
Gravel Institute, just right off the bat, is that they're currently painting themselves as simply the left-wing alternative to PragerU.
Yeah, the reason we have, quote, all of academia in the palm of our hand is because research supports progressive ideologies.
But saying that the Gravel Institute is just PragerU on the left...
The one who hoped Trump died? No. Let's believe in justice, you know?
Would be like saying that neo-Nazis are just Democrats on the right, in that it's a totally false comparison. That negative to PragerU Institute just
leftist ideas and refuting right-wing lies.
One of the biggest issues I have with the Gravel Institute, just right off the bat, is that they're currently painting themselves as simply the left-wing alternative to PragerU. But saying that the Gravel Institute is just PragerU on the left would be like saying that neo-Nazis are just Democrats on the right.
Dude, what? Hold up, what? She's so politically illiterate, if that's her take off this.
That it's a totally false comparison. PragerU...
It's not a false comparison. Well, yeah. What? No, you saying like... Comparing Gravel Institute to PragerU in some sense is a false comparison because Gravel Institute is actually providing information that is funded by the people. They're not funded by George Soros. They're funded by Patreon, nothing else.
Presents mainstream conservative ideas as well as just classically liberal centrist ideas. In fact, some of their presenters are actually liberals. In contrast to that, though, from everything
fuck liberals.
I've seen, the people at the Gravel Institute are literal socialists. Don't believe me? Well, let's check the receipts. Heading over to their profile, we immediately see that about this week's presidential debate, they believe that, quote, Bernie would have won. In response to an...
Yeah, wait, what? Bernie's not a socialist.
accurate PragerU post stating that Marxism, wherever it's been tried, many people died. They retweeted a post by one of their presenters, who we'll get to in a second, saying, I have some bad news to break about capitalism.
This is, dude, like the copium. Holy shit. Oh no, socialists. Oh no. So scary. I have some bad news to break about capitalism. Her saying that this is a bad take. It's a good thing Bernie didn't win. Big win for America. No, not at all. Are you kidding? Bernie is the only person that has actually put forward policies that would genuinely help the working class. Yeah, sorry, Alicia, share your dilemma. Also, some news to break about some bad news to break about capitalism. This statement, just like a blanket statement saying, yeah, well, capitalism is directly responsible for a lot of deaths, is like just not false. Wait, it reminds me of this tweet. Hold up, this tweet's so fucking funny. Hold up. God, where is it? I need to show you guys this. I cried. I literally cried, dude. I cried. I'm in tears, bro. I'm in tears. Hold up. Look at this. Look at this. Like, come on. God, wait. Communism in theory, communism in reality. When this is just a result of capitalism. Beautiful. Good meme. Great meme. Anyways. Getting so offended by this is really telling that you're just choosing to ignore the deaths of people. Glizzy reveal? Maybe, if you're lucky. And break our economy leading to inflation. Do you know that redistributing wealth would not lead to inflation? It's just not creating more money, dude. Like, inflation is when you just, like, create more money, right? That's not what would happen if you redistribute wealth. I'm 18. Guys, if you're watching on TikTok, please go over to the YouTube live stream if you're interested in seeing what I'm seeing on my screen and in watching the debate with me. Yay.
This group is explicitly anti-capitalism, and I know
Yeah, good. Capitalism sucks.
the Overton window keeps shifting left, but if you ask me,
The Overton
that
window
is
is
still an extreme
literally like right, moderate right. If we were in any other country, not even like Scandinavian countries, any other country, this would be completely valid.
extremist and fringe position to have. They've also gone
Not liking capitalism is not an extremist position, or just pointing out the fact that capitalism has resulted in preventable deaths is not an extreme position. Idea what it means or how it applies to economics. It is on YouTube, guys. I'm on YouTube. Do you not like see the name of the thing? Like, you know, like the title of the thing is I'm streaming on YouTube.
on to say that democracy without socialism is a joke, and
Democracy without socialism is a joke because you have corporate, massive corporate capitalists buying votes. If you vote with your dollar, whoever has the most dollars gets the most votes. I know. Hello. Hey, Bo Streams, let's go.
and the way to get young people to vote isn't doing dances on TikTok. It's free college, Medicare for all, and a Green
This is also true.
New Deal. Yes, young people like free crap. This isn't news to anybody. So don't
No, that's not. The Green New Deal, literally creating jobs and saving the planet in the meantime, is not free crap. Medicare for all is not free crap. It's just getting to live without dying because you're broke. You can raise taxes on the... Okay, close the loopholes. Like, what?
doing dances on TikTok.
And also, like, it's corporate taxes, not just individual taxes. It's like not allowing like companies to, like Apple, to keep all their money in Ireland or whatever. The way you get young people to vote isn't doing dances on TikTok. Also, like, billionaires wouldn't move, bro. Like, you're so Denmark or Norway, one of them has more billionaires per capita than America. Okay.
It's free college, Medicare for all, and a Green New Deal. Yes, young people like free crap. This isn't news to anybody. So
Shut
don't
up.
be fooled by the Gravel Institute trying to paint themselves as the anti-PragerU. They are not just liberals. They are not just Democrats. Heck, they're not even just progressives. They are flat out socialists.
Companies will avoid them too. Okay, and at least so like what? We shouldn't even try.
Let's move on now, though, to the Gravel
Like, that's such like a brain dead argument. Oh, we shouldn't even try to close the loopholes. Like they'll just avoid them. So we'll just like, instead of trying to close them or trying to do something or trying to hold them accountable, we'll just let them do it more.
Gravels Institute first
That's
PragerU
smart.
style 5-minute video. The presenter of this video is an activist by the name of Brianna Joy Gray, who is probably best known for being part of Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign this past year and for being, you guessed it, a self-avowed socialist. This past April, after leaving the campaign, she tweeted out, "On the plus side, I can drop the Democratic from my tweets about why socialism is good. Winky smiley face." Obviously,
True.
none of these Bernie Sanders people have anyone fooled with this whole democratic socialism shtick they have going on, but still it is interesting to see
No, wait, what? No, Bernie Sanders is fully like a soak them. What?
them just fully pull off the mask and admit, yeah, I want to redistribute your crap. And with that
Yeah, it is kind of nice. It's good to see people comfortable.
kind of background, it should come as no surprise that
Close the
the topic
loop,
Gray chose to
a-holes.
do her Gravel Institute video on is why big government is good, actually. Let's watch.
Sure, the US government
It wasn't why big government is good. That's such a straw man of this argument. It's why a government that works for the people with the interests of the people in mind is good.
is big, but not as big as it used to be. As a percentage of the economy, federal spending is smaller now than it was in 1954.
So this video
See the source on the bottom right there?
starts off trying to convince you that big government is good, actually, by asserting that government now isn't even all that big to begin
Wait, no, that's not what the assertion is. It's saying the government right now isn't even that big. It's big now, but it's not saying that's good. Companies stay in America and pay their fair shares. Yeah, I agree. Companies should stay in America and pay their fair shares.
And even though they're not technically lying in this segment,
Like saying Bernie's bad, like, it's not a good take. Because Bernie would 100% have done so much for the working class.
it is one of the best examples of misinformation I have ever seen. Gray says that the federal government actually isn't as big as it used to be.
No, it's literally not as big. Like after, God, what's it called? After the Great Depression, our government was huge. Social Security was like enacted. Like
To a specific figure in 1954. So if the government isn't as big as it used to be, then clearly that must mean that the government is actually getting smaller all the time, not bigger all the time like those
no. She goes on to say that the government's still big as fuck because we're putting so much in military and shit that doesn't matter.
lying conservatives like to say, right? Wrong. This is totally wrong, and I'm going to use the same source the Gravel Institute does to prove it. As you can see on this graph found at usgovernmentspending.com, starting in the year 1900, US government spending was very, very low. But then it understandably
Guys, look at this. This was a world war. This was a world war. Duh.
peaked during World War I. It went back down again, then gradually started rising in the late 1930s, eventually peaking again and dwarfing any previous spending at the height of World War II. After the war was over, spending fell
This like brought us out of the Great Depression. Like here, like this wasn't during a war, right? This wasn't during a war.
down again, but it had a slight resurgence in the 50s, i.e. the year that the Gravel Institute conveniently chooses to compare present-day spending to. So yes, technically it is true that there are points in
What do you want her to show? Like when we like nationalized all the industry to create weaponry for World War II? Like what?
history in the past where US government spending was more than it is today. But that doesn't change the fact that the overall trend throughout the past century of government spending is that it gradually increases. Just
No,
look at the
the-
graph for yourself. Government spending always gets bigger and it rarely, if ever, gets smaller. It started rising in the late
Do you not think that like more people like exist? Like, okay, look, it was decreasing here. This was like Reagan-esque economic period, you know? 2000s, it started increasing. Oh, what happened here? The Great Recession, and then the government bailed out the banks. Oh, look at that. Oh, and then it started decreasing again. Oh man.
late 1930s, eventually peaking again and dwarfing any previous spending at the height of World War. The Gravel Institute of government spending is that it gradually increases. Just look at the
Everton
graph
implies so much. Some things you can't think critically about these things. I know they really don't. Wait, Lauren, are you on the YouTube stream?
for yourself. Government spending always gets bigger and it rarely, if ever, gets smaller. And that's the trend with state government, federal government, local government, you name it. And besides, that data measures government spending as a percentage of GDP, meaning that if the economy is growing, then government spending can also grow without the government spending figure actually
Oh,
changing,
nice.
even
Thanks,
though
Lauren.
spending is
Glad.
increasing. I personally think that is a terrible way to measure or validate the size of government. I mean, just because your economy is bigger, why does that have to mean that your government is spending more? It doesn't. And using this type of measurement hides increases in government spending if they happen to occur at the same time as economic growth.
And the US spends less on government than other countries, like Germany or Finland, that have lower rates of poverty
Oh,
and higher
oh,
rates
I've
of
seen
economic
these, I've
mobility.
seen these clips. I've seen these clips. She's about to go full mask off.
The American
like
dream
white
is more alive in
ethno-stater.
these big government countries than in America.
There are a lot of differences between the US, Germany, and Finland.
Wait, I want to slow this down. You guys need to listen to this. This is like mask off.
But if you ask a socialist why it is that Germany and Finland perform better than the US in certain metrics, they'll say it's because the government is big.
Mm-mm.
And the taxes are higher. That is the answer to prosperity. Is that right, though? Are higher taxes and big government...
No, she just like built a straw man argument off of this, off of an argument no one says, and then tried to rebut it. No one says, oh, Germany's doing better because higher taxes. They say, oh, Germany's doing better, or the Scandinavian countries are doing better because they are they're using their taxes in an effective manner to create welfare states that allow people equal opportunity.
Are higher. That is the answer to prosperity.
I believe the problem with the left is they'll make promises on things they can't realistically can't provide. The reason it's so hard to find examples of people providing it is because capitalists every single time, especially imperialist capitalism, which is all capitalism by nature, due to needing to exploit the third world, will destroy any form of leftist ideologies, even like as small as like labor unions, you know, like leftists get shit the fuck on by neolibs and conservatives because like we're a genuine threat to the current hierarchy. So the reason we can't we provide solutions and they work great. Have you ever heard of a worker co-op? Look into worker co-ops. They're literally worker run companies. Ocean Spray's a worker co-op. Sunkist is a farmers co-op. Like these are all worker cooperatives where the workers come together, they have a share in the company, they make votes on what happens with the company, they may all vote democratically, kind of like a democratic country should. And then the profits that they make either go back into the company, go into their paychecks, go into vacation time, go into family time, go into paid medical leave, go into paid sick leave, go into making their products better, you know, like that works. That is like a baby stage of socialism because it's workers kind of owning the means of production. They still need to compete in this market economy, and so technically they're exploiting themselves. They're the master of their exploitation, but at least they're benefiting from it a lot more and actually gaining the majority of the benefits of their labor. That's socialism working, bro.
Is that right, though? Are higher taxes and big government really the answer to Germany and Finland's success? It couldn't possibly be because they have overwhelmingly homogenous populations, right? Populations that, by
hold
the way...
up, wait, guys, did you hear that?
Are higher taxes and big government really the answer to Germany and Finland's success?
She, first of all, strawmanned, obviously.
Couldn't possibly be because they have overwhelmingly homogenous populations.
Guys, come on. The only reason that those countries are doing so well is because, well, I mean, isn't it obvious, guys? Their gene pool is just so much better, right, guys? Like, they're all, like, super high IQ, you know? God damn. Stupid as hell. I'm talking to this Trump supporter. He's basically my pet project. Nice, Alicia.
Right? Populations that, by the way, also have a higher average IQ and narrower distribution than the US.
Yeah, I just said it. That's what I just said. That's what I just said. So it's like, oh, the gene pool's better because they're all white. She's going full mask off. Oh my god, what a psycho.
If it was true that you could just big government and tax any population into happiness and success, then the story of the Soviet Union would be very different.
What?
Population into happiness and success, then the story of the Soviet Union would be very
she's very misinformed.
And before I go any further talking about left-wing indoctrination, I actually have a way that you can combat this indoctrination, at least as far as your own kids are concerned, and that is our sponsor, Laurel Springs. So a lot of you have probably tried your hand at homeschooling this year, experience in distance, a framework, and since Laurel that fits springs.com.
Because, well, they don't. Republicans and Democrats alike are working for the people who line their wallets instead.
True.
That's not just my politics. That's the academic consensus.
True.
Okay, so I don't actually disagree with what Gray is saying here.
True.
I do think that politicians, by and large, are in it for themselves. They're in it to make money, and they're in it to stay in power. And I think that governments the world over cater way too much to special interests. But the thing is, that's just the nature of government, which is why conservatives like myself want government to be as small as possible, so that...
No, what? Just make the government work for the people. Like, oh my god. She's so dumb. Conservatives are so dumb.
People can't.
I have no respect for conservatives. This is why leftists like only fight with like liberals or each other, because talking to conservatives is brain damaging.
Take advantage of it. And I've just never understood how people like Gray can acknowledge how corrupt government is, yet at the same time lobby to make it bigger and to give them more power.
To argue the Green New Deal, just bring up the fact that it will just create jobs. Like, draw comparisons to the OG New Deal, remember? From like history after the Great Recession. Oh, it's her video. Oh wait, no, this is someone reacting to their video. Nice. All right, everyone on TikTok, I'm reacting to the debate. Go check it out on the ba 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 dun, 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 bum, 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 ba, 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 bum, ba, 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 ba. Pence versus Kamala. What should we watch on Yahoo Finance, Time, CBS, C-SPAN? C-SPAN kind of fucking sucks.
Focus on is moving from protesting to policy.
Join Gail, Anthony,
All right, I'm gonna talk real quick about what I want from this debate, and then we're gonna come back and watch it. Okay, so what I hope this debate happens. What makes you not? What makes you dislike conservatives? Everything. What's your ideology? I'm a leftist. What makes me hate conservatives? They just don't like poor people, which I don't like because I want poor people to not have to die, you know? I am going to stream the debate, by the way. Here we go. This is just flashbacks.
compassionate.
I want Kamala Harris to fucking pop off. I want her to pinpoint him at the top of the COVID response. I want her to make him poop his pants on stage. I want her to I've been calling myself egalitarian these days. I mean, being egalitarian is really just it's not like a ideology, but it's a byproduct of socialism, you know? Sure seem like they don't care about the basic empathy 9% of the time at that point. I know. Guys, I did convince that one QAnon believer to literally advocate for worker co-ops. Government having lots of power leads to bad things because of corruption. I don't think no, dude, I'm not like socialism by nature of the of workers owning the means of productions, and then because they own the means of productions they can actually implement democratic change, is the least authoritarian way to govern. Like an authoritarian state, or think about corporations, like on a small scale. Corporations are by nature authoritarian because they're authoritarian because it's like one boss who can just fire you at will, right? Worker co-ops, which would be like small scale socialism, like socialist projects, are egalitarian because everyone has one vote, so everyone's equal. Anyways, I'm gonna run to the bathroom, wash my hands super well after I do that, and then we'll watch this debate.
I think the vice president.
Anyways, wait, I never said what I want from my debate, for what I hope happens. I hope she just shits on him. I hope she holds him accountable for the deaths of COVID. She needs to focus on COVID. She just needs to focus on COVID, man. She needs to focus on the stimulus, the Trump cutting stimulus talks. She has to hit that real hard because it's just clear that conservatives don't care after this new stimulus debacle. Guys, if you're watching on TikTok, please go to YouTube, link in bio. I'm gonna end this stream so I can, I don't know, tweet or whatever. And oh yeah, and on conversion therapy.
On policy from the vice president.
Oh, and she needs to lay out Joe Biden's policies. She has to lay out Joe Biden's policies. 100%. Who's poor? What do you mean? Poor people are poor. What the fuck? I don't know, people who don't have money. What? Go watch on YouTube. BRB, guys.
It did in last week in his
We
debate
just need to hear
against
policies. We just need to hear policies because Pence doesn't have policy.
Okay.
Okay.
Dodging of issues. She doesn't want to answer questions. She doesn't want to try and explain to the American public why they should vote for the most liberal senator to be their vice president. And so I'm interested to see how she answers that.
All right, Katie Walsh Shields, I'm so sorry we're out of time. Thank you for joining us. The first debate and only vice presidential debate between Mike Pence and Senator Harris is about to get started. Let's go to our CBS News Primetime Special.
Chance to choose a better future.
Senator Kamala Harris.
He failed to protect the American people.
President Donald Trump's actions saved untold American lives.
We are here fighting for the soul of our nation.
The choice in this election is whether America remains America.
They know when we vote, things change.
It's on.
The vice presidential debate.
Good evening. I'm Nora O'Donnell in the nation's capital with John Dickerson and Gayle King, and we are moments away from the one and only vice presidential debate. You are looking at live pictures from inside the debate hall in Salt Lake City. Let's talk about the state of the race. There is new polling that shows Joe Biden expanding his national lead. And in the battlegrounds, Biden has a sizable lead in Pennsylvania, ahead in Iowa and Wisconsin, and tied with President Trump in Ohio. Vice President Mike Pence and Democratic Senator Kamala Harris arrived a short time ago, and this could be the most consequential vice presidential debate ever. A reminder, both candidates at the top of the ticket would be the oldest president in history.
President Trump, as you know, who is being treated for coronavirus and potentially still contagious, was in the Oval Office today, just days after being released from the hospital. Pence and Harris have both tested negative, and even before they take the stage, there is a clear divide literally between them. They will be separated by plexiglass and seated 12 feet apart instead of the normal 6. The Commission on Presidential Debates says everyone besides Pence, Harris, and the moderator, that's Susan Page, must wear a mask, and this time they are very serious.
Now, no one expects a repeat of the free-for-all that we witnessed at the presidential debate. It's not in the nature of either candidate. The vice president has done this once before. Senator Harris has not. But the first black and Asian American woman to run for vice president is a former prosecutor, and she delivered pointed attacks on Joe Biden at the Democrats' early debates.
This is going to be quite a debate ahead. There's no doubt about it. Let's bring in CBS's Nicole Killian. She's inside the debate hall in Salt Lake City and has been talking to representatives from each campaign.
She's going to be losing it on Twitter. Oh my God, I'm excited.
Good evening to you, Nora. Senator Harris has been here for days preparing with close aides. Her chief of staff tells me that her main goal tonight is to speak directly to the American people and contrast what the Biden campaign would do compared to the current administration. Expect her to use her prosecutor chops to go after the vice president, especially on the pandemic. Don't forget, it was her team that insisted on these plexiglass barriers.
Love turning your mic.
All right, Nicole Killian, thank you. Also want to bring in CBS's Paula Reed. She is quarantining
I'll turn this down too.
After she was potentially exposed to COVID while covering the White House. Good to see you, Paula, and tell us what you know about the Trump-Pence campaign.
Good evening, Nora. Well, CBS News has learned that the vice president has participated in 3 90-minute sessions.
Don't expect
He's worked
much
along with former Florida Attorney General Pam
when it comes
Bondi,
to
who has played the role of Senator Harris.
When it comes
these
to
sessions have focused quite a bit on how to defend
called?
the administration's handling of coronavirus. The vice president, of course, heads up the task force, but most voters, they do not think it's gone very well. Nora?
All right, Paula Reed, thank you. The debate is about to begin, and no doubt coronavirus will be at the center. Let's bring in the moderator.
From the University of Utah in Salt Lake City, welcome to the first and only vice presidential debate of 2020. Sponsored by the Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential Debates.
Well, I don't know who this moderator
I'm Susan
is.
Page of USA Today. It is our democracy. Our democracy.
Susan Page.
In Kingsbury Hall tonight, we have a small and socially distant audience, and we've taken extra precautions during this pandemic. Among other things, everyone in the audience is required to wear a face mask, and the candidates
Wait,
will
are
be
they not wearing
seated
masks?
12 feet apart.
I missed that.
The audience is enthusiastic about their candidates, but they've agreed to express that enthusiasm only twice, at the end of the debate and now, when I introduce the candidates.
But they won't have
Please
to yell.
welcome
Come looking after
California
control
Senator Kamala Harris
the conversation.
and Vice
Biden's
President Mike
Biden can.
Pence.
Hey. Stupid, innit? Hey, Kamala. I love the divider. Also, I love the desk. Also, that's my chair. Oh, I have the same chair.
Thank you.
I don't think this moderator will have to yell at all.
Senator Harris and Vice President Pence, thank you for being here.
I have that chair. Not to
We're
flex.
meeting as President Trump and the First Lady continue to undergo treatment in Washington after testing positive for COVID-19. We send our thoughts and prayers to them for their rapid and complete recovery and for the recovery of everyone afflicted by the coronavirus.
Well, I didn't see the stance.
The two campaigns and the Commission on Presidential Debates have agreed to the ground rules for tonight. I'm here
Lay them
to
out.
enforce them on behalf
Nice.
of the millions of Americans
Nice.
who are watching.
This is good. We need to know the
One
rules.
note, no one in either campaign or at the commission or anywhere else has been told in advance what topics I'll raise or what questions I'll ask.
I'm glad there's dividers.
This 90-minute debate will be divided into 9 segments of about 10 minutes each.
Law and order.
I'll begin a
Law and
segment
order,
by
brother.
posing a question to each of you.
Law and
Sometimes
order.
the same question,
Yeah, there's
sometimes
masking
a
the
different
crowd.
question on the same topic. You will then have 2 minutes to answer without interruption by me or the other candidate. Then we'll take 6 minutes or so to discuss the issue. At that point, although there will always be more to say, we'll move on to the next topic. We want a debate that is lively, but Americans also deserve a discussion that is civil.
She's doing a good job
These
laying it
are
out.
tumultuous times, but we can and will have a respectful exchange about the big issues facing our nation. Let's begin with the ongoing pandemic that has cost our country so much. Senator Harris, the coronavirus is not under control. Over the past week, Johns
Imagine
Hopkins
Mike Pence with
reports
the middle
that
part. That'd be kinda hot.
39 states have had more COVID cases over the past 7 days than in the week before. 9 states have set new records. Even if a vaccine is released soon, the next administration will face hard choices. What would a Biden administration do in January and February that a Trump administration wouldn't do? Would you impose new lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots? A federal mandate to wear masks?
Look at her taking notes.
You have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Thank you, Susan.
Let's hear it, Mama.
Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country.
Coming in hot.
And here are the facts.
Ooh, facts.
210,000 dead people in our country
Sorry,
in
I'm
just the
very
last
excited.
several months. Over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers.
True.
We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment.
Look
And
at
here's
him.
the
He's
thing.
so ugly.
On January 28th, the vice president and the president were informed about the nature of this
Bring
pandemic.
up
They
the
were
meeting.
informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people, and that it would be contracted because it is airborne. And
said
they
that already.
knew what was happening,
It's
and
okay.
they didn't tell you. Can you imagine if you knew on January 28th, as opposed to March 13th, what they knew, what you might have done to prepare? They knew and they covered it up. The president said it was a hoax. They minimized the seriousness of it. The president said, you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't.
True.
And in spite of all of that, today they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free for all.
She's doing a
That
good
is
job.
the plan that Joe Biden has and that I have, knowing that we have to get a hold of what has been going on, and we need to save our country. And Joe Biden is the best leader to do that. And frankly, this administration has forfeited their right to re-election based on this.
Thank you, Senator Harris.
Good job.
Vice President Pence, more than 210,000 Americans have died of COVID-19 since February. The U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population is
He's
higher
nervous.
than that of almost every other wealthy nation on
nervous.
earth. For instance, our death rate is 2.5 times
like
that
he's
of
just finding
Canada
out.
next door. You head the administration's coronavirus task force.
Good, bring that
Why
up.
is the U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population higher than that of almost every other wealthy country? And you have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Susan, thank you. And I want to thank the Commission and the University of Utah
I'm so
for
interested on how
hosting this event. And Senator Harris, it's a privilege to be on the stage with you.
It's just gonna waste time.
You know, our nation has gone through a very challenging time this year. But I want the American people to know that from the very first day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America first.
No, he hasn't.
Before there were more than 5 cases in the United States, all people who had returned from China, President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done. And that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world.
This hasn't happened.
Now, Senator Joe Biden opposed that decision. He said it was xenophobic and hysterical.
Oh, yeah.
But I can tell you, having led the White House Coronavirus Task Force, that decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II. And I believe it saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done to date. We were able to see to the delivery of billions of supplies so our doctors and nurses had the resources support they needed.
Lying.
And we began really before the month of February was out to develop a vaccine and to develop medicines and therapeutics that have been saving lives all along the way. And under President Trump's leadership, Operation Warp Speed, we believe will have literally tens of millions of doses of a vaccine before the end of this year. The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan, it reads an awful lot like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the way. I mean, quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, it looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about. And I think the American people know that this is a president who has put the health of America first, and the American people, I believe with my heart, can be proud of the sacrifices they have made. It's saved countless American lives.
America first, brother.
Senator Harris, would you like to respond?
Absolutely. Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country,
America first.
American lives that have been lost, families that are grieving that loss. And you know, the vice president is the head of the task force and knew on January 28th how serious this was. And then thanks to Bob Woodward, we learned that they knew about it. And then when that was exposed, the vice president said, when asked, well, why didn't y'all tell anybody? He said, because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Yes, true.
Well, let's get
no, but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to add, but if, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I'm
speaking.
Yeah, you can have 15 more seconds, and then we'll give the vice president a chance to respond.
So I want to ask the American people, how calm were you when you were panicked about where you're going to get your next roll of toilet paper? How calm were you when your kids were sent home from school and you didn't know when they could go back? How calm were you when your children couldn't see your parents because you were afraid they could kill them?
Let's give Vice President Pence a chance to respond. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute to respond.
There's not a day gone by that I haven't thought of every American family that's lost a loved one. And I want all of you to know that you'll always be in our hearts and in our prayers.
Well, we won't do anything about it, though.
But when you say what the American people have done over these last 8 months hasn't worked, that's a great disservice to the sacrifices the American people have made. The reality, if I may finish, Senator, the reality is Dr. Fauci said everything that he told the president in the Oval Office, the president told the American people. Now, President Trump, I will tell you, has boundless confidence in the American people, and he always spoke with confidence that we'd get through this together. But when you say it hasn't worked, when Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and our medical experts came to us in the second week of March, they said if the president didn't take the unprecedented step of shutting down roughly half of the American economy, that we could lose 2.2 million Americans. Now, that's the reality.
Thank you.
They also said to us if we did everything right, Susan, we could still lose more than 200,000 Americans.
Vice President
now, one life lost is too many, Susan.
Shut up.
But the American people, I believe, deserve credit for the sacrifices that they have made, putting the health of their family and their neighbors first, our doctors, our nurses, our first
Thank you,
responders.
Vice President Pence.
And I'm going to speak up on behalf of what the American people have done.
Vice President Pence, you were in the front row in a Rose Garden event 11 days ago, what seems to have been a super spreader event for senior administration and congressional officials. No social distancing, few masks, and now a cluster of coronavirus cases among those who were there. How can you expect Americans to follow the administration's safety guidelines to protect themselves from COVID when you at the White House have not been doing so?
Well, the American people have demonstrated over the last 8 months that when given the facts, they're willing to put the health of their families and their neighbors and people they don't even know first. And President Trump and I have great confidence in the American people and their ability to take that information and put it into practice. In the height of the epidemic, when we were losing a heartbreaking number of 2,500 Americans a day, we surged resources to New Jersey and New York and New Orleans and Detroit. We told the American people what needed to be done, and the American people made the sacrifices. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work of the President of the United States goes on. A vacancy on the Supreme Court of the United States has come upon us, and the President introduced Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
That, if I may say, that Rose Garden event,
well, he just
there's been a great deal of speculation about it. My wife Karen and I were there and honored to be there. Many of the people who were at that event, Susan, actually were tested for coronavirus.
Shut up.
And it was an outdoor event, which all of our scientists regularly and routinely advise. The difference here is President Trump and I trust the American people to make choices in the best interest of their health. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris consistently talk about mandates, and not just mandates with the coronavirus, but a government takeover of health care, the Green New Deal, all government control. We're about freedom and respecting the freedom of the American people.
Let's talk about respecting the American people. You respect the American people when you tell them the truth.
Yes, sir.
You respect the American people when you have the courage to be a leader, speaking of those things that you may not want people to hear, but they need to hear so they can protect themselves. But this administration stood on information that if you had as a parent, if you had as a worker, knowing you didn't have enough money saved up, and now you're standing in a food line because of the ineptitude of an administration that was unwilling to speak the truth to the American people.
He does look like.
So let's talk about caring about the American people. The American people have had to sacrifice far too much because of the incompetence of this administration. It is asking too much of the people.
Susan, we talked about
it is asking too much of the people. That they would not be equipped with the information they need to help themselves to protect their parents and their children.
Sorry. Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, I'm sorry.
It's fine, I'm Kamala.
No, you're Senator Harris to me. For life to get back to normal, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other experts say that most of the people who can be vaccinated need to be vaccinated. But half of Americans now say they wouldn't take a vaccine if it was released now. If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
Such a loaded
question. If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it, absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
True.
Vice President Pence, there have been a lot of repercussions from this pandemic. In recent days, the president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of the job that you hold and that you are seeking. That's our second topic tonight.
Look at him.
It's the role of the vice president.
Right here.
One of you will make history on January 20th. You will be the vice president to the oldest president the United States has ever had. Donald Trump will be 74 years old on Inauguration Day. Joe Biden will be 78 years old. That already has raised concerns among some voters, concerns that have been sharpened by President Trump's hospitalization in recent days. Vice President Pence, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes without interruption.
Well, Susan, thank you, although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on to the issue of
but I would like to go back because the reality is that we're going to have a vaccine Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in less than a year. We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical trials, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives.
He's not.
The reality is that we will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year.
She's just saying trust
and
the
it will have
scientists.
the capacity to save countless American lives. And your continuous undermining of confidence in a vaccine is just, it's just unacceptable. And let me also say, you know, the reality is when you talk about failure in this administration, we actually do know what failure looks like in a pandemic. It was 2009.
Yes.
The swine flu arrived in the United States. Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu. 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu. If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives. His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year
Guys, Biden's up 9.5
that it was pure luck
in national polls.
that they did, quote, everything possible wrong.
And then we put a pandemic response.
We
yeah,
learned
exactly.
from that. They left the Strategic National Stockpile empty. They left an empty and hollow plan, but we still learned from it. And I think American people, I'm going to say again, can be proud
Vice President Pence, I'm sorry,
of
your
what
time
we
is
have
up.
done.
Yeah, wait,
And
he
Senator,
hasn't answered a
please
single
stop
question.
undermining confidence
Has
in
he
a
answered a
vaccine.
single question?
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked Vice President Pence, which is, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with Vice President Biden about safeguards or procedures
Good job, moderator.
when it
Bringing
comes
it back
to
the
the
actual
issue
question.
of presidential disability? And if
didn't
not,
answer the question.
and if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call, asking me to serve with him on this ticket was probably one of the most memorable days of my life. I thought about my mother, who came to the United States at the age of 19, gave birth to me at the age of 25 at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California. And the thought that I'd be sitting here right now, I know would make her proud, and she must be looking down on this.
Nice.
You know, Joe and I were raised in a very similar way. We were raised with values that are about hard work, about the value and the dignity of public service, and about the importance of fighting for the dignity of all people. And I think Joe asked me to serve with him because, you know, I have a career that included being elected the first woman district attorney of San Francisco.
All right, don't bring that up.
Don't
bring that up.
Models
Don't bring that
of
up.
innovation
Don't bring that up.
for
Don't
law
bring that up.
enforcement in terms of reform of the criminal justice
She did do
system.
that.
I was
Good job.
elected the
Don't
first
bring that up.
woman of color and black woman to be elected Attorney General of the state of California, where I
answer the
ran the
question.
second largest Department of
What will
Justice
you
in
do
the
if he
United
dies?
States, second only to the United States Department of Justice. And there I took on everything from transnational criminal organizations to the big banks that were taking advantage of homeowners to for-profit colleges that were taking advantage of veterans. And then, of course, now I serve in the United States Senate as only the second black woman ever elected to the United States Senate. I serve on the Senate Intelligence Committee, where I've been in regular receipt of classified information about threats to our nation and hotspots around the world. I've traveled the world. I've met with our soldiers in war zones. And I think Joe has asked me to serve with him because he knows that we share a purpose, which is about lifting up the American people. And after the 4 years that we have seen of Donald Trump unifying our country around our common values and principles.
Thank you, Senator Harris. You know, neither President Trump nor Vice President Biden has released a sort of detailed health information that had become the modern norm until the 2016 election. And in recent days, President Trump's doctors have given misleading answers or refused to answer basic questions about his health. And my question to each of you in turn is this information voters deserve to know? Vice President Pence, would you like to go first?
Well, Susan, thank you. And let me say on
He's
behalf
gonna
of
be
the
like he did
President
Okay, no.
and the First Lady how moved we've all been by the outpouring of prayers and concern for the President. And I do believe it's emblematic of the prayers and the concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus. But the care the President received at Walter Reed Hospital, the White House doctors, was exceptional.
I dare him to bring
And
this
the
up.
transparency that they practiced
dare
all
him to bring
along
this
the
up.
way will
They-
continue.
The transparency,
The
they
American
changed the story
people
4
have
times,
a right to know about the health and well-being of their president, and will continue to do that. But I'm just extremely grateful and was more than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions of genuine concern. And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic nature of your nomination.
Thank you.
I never expected to be on this stage 4 years ago, so I know the feeling. But the reality is we've got an election before the American people in the midst of this challenging year. And the stakes have never been higher, but I think the choice has never been clearer.
I want to give Senator Harris a chance to respond to the same question I asked, which is, do voters have a right to know more detailed health information about presidential candidates and especially about presidents, especially when they're facing some kind of challenge?
Absolutely, and that's why Joe Biden has been so incredibly transparent, and certainly by contrast, the president has not, both in terms of health records, but also let's look at taxes. We now know, because of great investigative journalism, that Donald Trump paid $750 in taxes. When I first heard about it, I literally said, you mean $750,000? And it was like, no, $750. We now know Donald Trump owes and is in debt for $400 million. And just so everyone is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, owes money to, because the American people have a right to know what is influencing the President's decisions. And is he making those decisions on the best interest of the American people, of you, or self-interest? So, Susan, I'm glad you asked about transparency, because it has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest, he is forthright. But Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been about covering up everything.
Thank you, Senator Harris. I want to give you a chance to respond, Vice President.
Well, look, I respect the fact that Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life. I respect your public service as well.
Thank you.
But the American people have a president who's a businessman. It's a job creator who's paid tens of millions of dollars in taxes, payroll taxes, property taxes. He's created tens of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures.
Her bringing up the debt
American
was a really
people
good
can
job. He's just going to be like,
review
oh, he's
just as
smart.
the law allows. But the distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you, Vice President.
Turned this economy around by cutting taxes, rolling back regulation, energy, fighting for free and fair trade, and all of that's on the line if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's a good segue into our third topic, which is about the economy. This has been another aspect of life for Americans. It's been so affected by this coronavirus. We have a jobs crisis brewing. On Friday, we learned that the unemployment rate had declined to 7.9% in September, but the job growth had stalled, and that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry at Disney and elsewhere. Hundreds of thousands of discouraged workers have stopped looking for work. Nearly 11 million jobs that existed at the beginning of the year haven't been replaced. Those hardest hit include Latinos, blacks, and women. Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that new spending by raising $4 trillion in taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations. Some economists warn that could curb entrepreneurial ventures that fuel growth and create jobs. Would raising taxes put the recovery at risk? And you have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
Oh, he's so happy for this, but It's literally just
On the issue of the economy, I think there couldn't be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family.
True.
On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing.
True.
Which is why he passed a tax bill benefiting the top 1% and the biggest corporations of America, leading to a $2 trillion deficit that the American people are going to have to pay for.
True.
On day one, Joe Biden will repeal that tax bill. He'll get rid of it. And what he'll do with the money is invest it in the American people.
I want to see what Trump's
and through a plan that is about investing in infrastructure, something that Donald Trump said he would do. I remember hearing about some infrastructure week. I don't think it ever happened. But Joe Biden will do that. He'll invest in infrastructure. It's about upgrading our roads and bridges, but also investing in clean energy and renewable energy. Joe is going to invest that money in what we need to do around innovation. Really there was a time when our country believed in science and invested in research and development so that we were an innovation leader on the globe. Joe Biden will use that money to invest in education.
True.
So, for example, for folks who want to go to a 2-year community college, it will be free. If you come from a family that makes less than $125,000, you'll go to a public university for free. And across the board, we'll make sure that if you have student loan debt, it's cut by $10,000. That's how Joe Biden thinks about the economy, which is it's about investing in the people of our country as opposed to passing a tax bill, which had the benefit of letting American corporations go offshore to do their business.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, your administration has been predicting a rapid and robust recovery, but the latest economic report suggests that's not happening. Should Americans be braced for an economic comeback that is going to take not months, but a year or more? You have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
This is staying the entire time, yeah.
When President Trump and I took office, America had gone through the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression. Because when Joe Biden was vice president, they tried to tax and spend and regulate and bail our way back to a growing economy. President Trump cut taxes across the board. Despite what Senator Harris says, the average American family of 4 had $2,000 in savings in taxes. And with the rise in wages that occurred, most predominantly for blue-collar, hard-working Americans,
this is a
the
lie.
average household income for a family of 4 increased by $4,000 following President Trump's tax cuts. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on day one, Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes. It's really remarkable to think. I mean, right after a time where we're going through a pandemic that lost 22 million jobs at the height, we've already added back 11.6 million jobs because we had a president who cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and secured $4 trillion from the Congress of the United States to give direct payments to families, save 50 million jobs through the Paycheck Protection Program. We literally have spared no expense to help the American people and the American worker through this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to raise taxes. They want to bury our economy under a $2 trillion Green New Deal, which you were one of the original co-sponsors of in the United States Senate. They want to abolish fossil fuels and ban fracking, which would cost hundreds of thousands of American jobs all across the heartland. And Joe Biden wants to go back to the economic surrender to China, that when we took office, half of our international trade deficit was with China alone. And Joe Biden wants to repeal all of the tariffs that President Trump put into effect to fight for American jobs and American workers. Joe Biden says democracy's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan. The American economy, the American comeback is on the ballot with 4 more years of growth and opportunity, 4 more years of President Donald Trump. 2021 is going to be the biggest economic year in the history of this country.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
Do you hate
Senator Harris?
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000 a year.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Yes.
Well,
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year. Senator,
that is
that's the math.
absolutely not true. That
Is he
tax
only
bill-
is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay.
Nice.
Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden is the one who, during the Great Recession, was responsible for the Recovery Act that brought America back. And now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the coattails of Joe Biden's success for the economy that they had at the beginning of their term. Of course, now the economy is a complete disaster. But Joe Biden, on the one hand, did that. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great Depression. On the one hand, you have Joe Biden, who was responsible with President Barack Obama for the Affordable Care Act, which brought health care to over 20 million Americans and protected people with pre-existing conditions. And what it also did is it saved those families who otherwise were going bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in court right now, trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which means that you will lose protections if you have pre-existing conditions.
Yes.
And this is very important, Susan.
Yes,
and it's
but we need to give Vice President.
I'd just like to, he interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish, please.
True.
If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer,
COVID-19,
they're coming for you.
True.
If you love someone who has a pre-existing condition, they're coming for you.
He's coming,
baby.
baby.
If you are under the age of 26 on your parents' coverage, they're coming for you.
Senator Harris, thank you.
Well,
Let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, I hope we have a chance to talk about health care because Obamacare was a disaster. The American people remember it well. And President Trump and I have a plan to improve health care and to protect pre-existing conditions for every American.
Bring it up.
But look, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running for president that you would ban fracking.
Is she running for president?
Joe Biden looked at a supporter in the eye and pointed and said, I guarantee that we will abolish fossil fuels. They have a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal, Susan, that your newspaper, USA Today, said really wasn't that very different from the original Green New Deal. More taxes, more regulation, banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy, and economic surrender to China is a prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now will continue with 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House.
Thank you very, very much, Vice President Pence. Once again, you've provided the perfect segue to a new topic, which is climate change.
He's coming.
And Vice President Pence, I'd like to pose the first question to you.
Sorry.
This year, we've seen record-setting hurricanes in the South. Another one, Hurricane Delta, is now threatening the Gulf. And we have seen record-setting wildfires in the West. Do you believe, as the scientific community has concluded, that man-made climate change has made wildfires bigger, hotter, and more deadly, and have made hurricanes wetter, slower, and more damaging?
I just managed to delete those old YouTube videos, so I'm very happy about that.
Well, first, I'm very proud of our record on the environment and on conservation. According to all of the best estimates, our air and land are cleaner than any time ever
you're
recorded.
Entitled to your opinion,
water is
not your
among the
facts.
cleanest in the world. And just a little while ago, the President signed the Outdoors Act. It's the largest investment in our public lands and public parks in 100 years.
Also, he
so President Trump has made a commitment to conservation and to the environment. Now, with regard to climate change, the climate is changing. But the issue is, what's the cause and what do we do about it? President Trump has made it clear that we're going to continue to listen to the science. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. They'd impose the Green New Deal.
I wish they would
impose
crush
the Green New Deal. American energy, would increase the energy costs of American families in their homes, and literally would crush American jobs. And President Trump and I believe that the progress that we have made in a cleaner environment has been happening precisely because we have a strong free market economy. You know, what's remarkable is the United States has reduced CO2 more than the countries that are still in the Paris Climate Accord, but we've done it through innovation, and we've done it through natural gas and fracking, which, Senator, the American people can go look at the record. I know Joe Biden says otherwise now, as you do, but the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation, we're actually steering toward a stronger and better environment. With regard to wildfires, President Trump and I believe that forest management has to be front and center. And even Governor Gavin Newsom from your state has agreed we've got to work on forest management. And with regard to hurricanes,
the federal government owns
National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually, as difficult as they are, there are no more hurricanes today than there were 100 years ago.
Thank you.
But many of the climate alarmists use hurricanes and wildfires to try and sell goods the Green New Deal. And President Trump and I are going to always put American jobs and American workers first.
Senator Harris, as the Vice President mentioned, you co-sponsored the Green New Deal in Congress. But Vice President Biden said in last week's debate that he does not support the Green New Deal. But if you look at the Biden-Harris campaign website, it describes the Green New Deal as a crucial framework. What exactly would be the stance of a Biden-Harris administration toward the Green New Deal? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact. That is a fact. I will repeat that Joe Biden has been very clear that he thinks about growing jobs, which is why he will not increase taxes for anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. Joe Biden's economic plan, Moody's, which is a reputable Wall Street firm, has said will create 7 million more jobs than Donald Trump's. True. And part of those jobs that will be created by Joe Biden are going to be about clean energy and renewable energy. Because you see, Joe understands that the west coast of our country is burning, including my home state of California. Joe sees what is happening on the Gulf states, which are being battered by storms. Joe has seen and talked with the farmers in Iowa, whose entire crops have been destroyed because of floods. And so Joe believes, again, in science. I'll tell you something, Susan. I served, when I first got to the Senate, on the committee that's responsible for the environment. Do you know this administration took the word science off the website?
Yes.
And then took the phrase climate change off the website?
Run it.
We have seen a pattern with this administration, which is they don't believe in science.
True.
And Joe's plan is about saying we're going to deal with it, but we're also going to create jobs.
True.
Donald Trump, when asked about the wildfires in California, and the question was, you know, the science is telling us this, you know what Donald Trump said? Science doesn't know. So let's talk about who is prepared to lead our country over the course of the next 4 years on what is an existential threat to us as human beings. Joe is about saying we're going to invest that in renewable energy. It's going to be about the creation of millions of jobs. We will achieve net zero emissions by 2050, carbon neutral by 2035. Joe has a plan. This has been a lot of talk from the Trump administration, and really it has been to go backward instead of forward. We will also re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Senator Harris just said that climate change is an existential threat. Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science. But
you just said you wouldn't follow the science.
Senator Harris is denying the fact that they're going to raise taxes on every American. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that on day one he was going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
We're not talking about this, bro.
Those tax cuts delivered $2,000 in tax relief to the average family of four across America. And with regard to banning fracking, I just recommend that people look at the record. You yourself said repeatedly that you would ban fracking. You were the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the Green New Deal, Susan, thank you for pointing out, the Green New Deal is on their campaign website.
As a framework.
And as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored with AOC when she submitted it in the Senate.
Oh my God.
And you just heard the senator say that she's going to resubmit America to the Paris Climate Accord. Look,
This is gaslighting.
the American people have
first degree.
always cherished our environment. We'll continue to cherish it. We've made great progress reducing CO2
wait, what the
emissions
fuck,
through
C-SPAN?
American innovation and the development of natural gas through fracking. We don't need a massive $2 trillion
what is this
Green
tweet by
New
C-SPAN?
Deal
What
that
the
would
hell?
impose all new mandates on American businesses and American families.
C-SPAN, what the
Joe
fuck?
Biden wants us
Thank
to
you, Vice
retrofit
President Pence.
4 million
Thank you, Vice
American
President
business
Pence.
buildings. It makes no sense. It will cost jobs. President Trump
Thank
is
you,
going to
Vice
put
President
America first. He's going to put jobs first, and we're going to take care of our environment and follow the science.
Thank
But,
you, Vice
you know,
President
on
Pence.
the issue of jobs,
Senator Harris.
let's talk about that. The vice president earlier referred to it as part of what he thinks is an accomplishment.
Fracking is bad, actually.
The president's trade war with China. You lost that trade war.
True.
You lost it. What ended up happening?
Someone just coughed in the audience.
Is
Someone
because
just
of
coughed
a
in the
so-called
audience.
trade war with China.
Who was
America
it?
lost
Who died?
300,000 manufacturing jobs.
Thank you for bringing this up. Thank
Farmers have experienced bankruptcy because
Thank
of
you.
it. We are in a manufacturing recession because of it.
you. Thank you.
And when we look at where this administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration.
I think she's doing
And
well.
the American people know what I'm talking about. You
Dude.
know. I think about 20-year-olds. You know, we
I
have a
hate all this.
20-year-old, a 20-something-year-old who are coming out of high school and college right now, and you're wondering, is there going to be a job there for me?
Yeah.
We're looking at people who are trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent by the end of the month. Almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent by the end of the month. This is where the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership of this administration.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you just 15 seconds to respond because then I want to move on to.
Well, I'd love to respond. Look, lost the trade war with China. Joe Biden never fought it. Joe Biden has been a cheerleader for communist China through over the last several decades. And again, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe Biden was vice president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs, and President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back. In our first 3 years after we cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, this administration saw 500,000 manufacturing jobs created. And that's exactly the kind of growth we're going to continue to see as we bring our nation through this pandemic. But a Green New Deal, your massive new mandates, your Paris Climate Accord, it's going to kill jobs this time, just like it killed jobs.
I just need to respond very briefly,
15
please.
seconds, and
Thank
then
you.
we'll move
Thank you. Joe Biden is responsible for saving America's auto industry, and you voted against it. So let's set the record straight. Thank you.
I'd like to talk about China. We have, as our next topic, we have no more complicated or consequential foreign relationship than the one with China. It is a huge market for American agricultural goods. It's a potential partner in dealing with climate change in North Korea. And in a video tonight, President Trump again blamed it for the coronavirus, saying China will pay. Vice President Pence, how would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Competitors, adversaries, enemies? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Susan. Well, before I leave that, let me speak to voting records if I can. You know, everybody knows that NAFTA cost literally thousands of American factories to close.
Dude, this new plan
We
is
saw
just
automotive
NAFTA.
jobs go south of the border. President Trump fought to renegotiate NAFTA. And the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land. American people deserve to know Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA. It was a huge win for American auto workers. It was a huge win for American farmers, especially dairy in the upper Midwest. But Senator, you said it didn't go far enough on climate change, that you put your radical environmental agenda ahead of American auto workers and ahead of American jobs. The American people deserve to know that. It's probably
Why won't Trump tweet? I'm so
Newsweek
bored.
magazine
Why
said
can't Trump tweet
that
something?
Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019, more liberal than Bernie Sanders, more liberal than any of the others in the United States Senate. So Now, with regard to China, look, Susan, first and foremost, China is to blame for the coronavirus. And President Trump is not happy about it. He's made that very clear, made it clear again today. China and the World Health Organization did not play straight with the American people. They did not let our personnel into China to get information on the coronavirus until the middle of February. Fortunately, President Trump, in dealing with China from the outset of this administration, standing up to China that had been taking advantage of America for decades in the wake of Joe Biden's cheerleading for China. President Trump made that decision before the end of January to suspend all travel from China.
This is horrible.
And again, the American people deserve to know Joe Biden opposed President Trump's decision to suspend all travel
my issue with him is that, like,
he said it was
he lies, but he doesn't look or like come across like Trump. He's relaxing. Like, this is what like the Lincoln Project actually wants, you know. So it's just kind of a little frustrating to me because this will like reassure conservatives that, oh, Biden's nice and warm and fuzzy, you know, or Pence, so not Biden. Whoops. Anyways, join her Zoom. I can't join the Zoom. I need to lie down. I can't be on my computer. Sorry. I appreciate it, Lauren. Everyone else though, join Lauren's Zoom. I have 10. All my viewers just showed up, but I have to end the stream. All right. That's enough of that. Good night, y'all. Thanks for hanging out.